Hello everyone and welcome back to Java Lessons on Codecademy. So today we are continuing on with the topic of conditionals and control flow. So let's get started. So let's get familiar with how relational, equality and Boolean operators can be used to control the control flow of our code. We'll start by exploring the if statement. In Java, the keyword if is the first part of a conditional expression. It is followed by a Boolean expression and then a block of code. If the Boolean expression evaluates to true, the block of code that follows will be run. Here's an example of the if statement used with a conditional expression. So if 9 is greater than 2, then this is run. And 9 is greater than 2, so what's going to be printed is control flow rocks. So let's see what our instructions are. The if statement in the code editor is missing its Boolean expression, okay? Provide the if statement with a Boolean expression that evaluates to true. So let's do if true equals true. And actually no, let's make it if false equals false. And false does equal false, so we should get access granted. As we can see, we get access granted. So let's move on. Sometimes we execute one block of code when the Boolean expression after the if keyword is true. Other times we may want to execute a different block of code when the Boolean expression is false. We could write a second if statement with the Boolean expression that is opposite the first, but Java provides a shortcut called the if-else conditional. The if-else conditional will run the block of code associated with the if statement if its Boolean expression evaluates to true. Otherwise, if the Boolean expression evaluates to false, it will run the block of code after the else keyword. Here's an example of if-else syntax. So we have if 1 is lesser than 3 and 5 is lesser than 4, which both of those are true, so this should be entered. We get what should be printed is I defy the Boolean laws, or no, 5 isn't greater than 4. What am I talking about? So this will never be printed out, or this statement here. But what is going to be printed out is you can thank George Boole. I'm guessing that's the guy that Boolean was named after, maybe not. So in the example above, the Boolean expression 1 is less than 3 and 5 is less than 4 evaluates to false. The code within the if block will be skipped and the code inside the else block will be run instead. The text you can thank George Boole will be printed in the console. So what are our instructions? The if-else statement in the code editor currently prints out the code in the if block. Modify the if statement's Boolean expression so that the code in the else block gets executed and prints to the console. So we don't want to enter this. What we want to enter is this. So what we can easily do is if 7 is less than 7, which is false because they're equal, then this isn't going to be entered, so we're going to enter the else statement, and what should be printed is success, and success is printed. So let's move on. Good work. In some cases we need to execute a separate block of code depending on different Boolean expressions. For that case we can use the if-else else statement in Java. Else if is the same as elif in Python. If the Boolean expression after the if statement evaluates to true, it will run the code block that directly follows. Otherwise, if the Boolean expression after the else if statement evaluates to true, the code block that directly follow will run. Finally, if all previous Boolean expressions evaluate to false, the code within the else block will run. Here's an example of conditional flow with if, else if, and else statement. So in the example above, the integer variable shoe size is equal to 10, which is not greater than 12, but it is greater than or equal to 6. Therefore, the code block after the else if statement will be run. So int shoe size is 10. It's not greater than 12, but it is greater than or equal to 6. So this code is going to be run, which tells you your shoe size is in stock. So let's see what our instructions are. Set the value of the round variable so that the code in the else if block runs. So it needs to be greater than 0, but less than or equal to 12. So let's make it equal to 7. that should work. And what should be printed out is the match is underway, and that is exactly what gets printed out. So let's move on. If-else statements can become lengthy even when you simply want to return a value depending on a Boolean expression. Fortunately, Java provides a shortcut that allows you to write if-else statement in a single line of code. It is called the ternary conditional statement. The term ternary comes from Latin word that means composed of three parts. These three parts are a Boolean expression, a single statement that gets executed if the Boolean expression is true, a single statement that gets executed if the Boolean expression is false. So here is an example of a ternary conditional statement. In the example above, the integer variable called points scored is equal to 21. The Boolean expression is points scored greater than 21, so that's true. This will return the value of w, which is assigned to the variable game result. So the value w is printed to the console. So if it was false, what would be printed to the console is L. So in case if points scored was less than 20 or equal to 20 in that case. So what we need to do is set the can_drive variable equal to the ternary expression, to this ternary expression, fuel level greater than 0, and yes or no. So how we do that is just equal to and paste the ternary expression basically. So if we run it, what should be printed is y, because this works out to true. Because fuel level is greater than 0, it's 3. But if this was 0 or less than 0, then what would be printed out is n. So let's move on. The conditional statement that we have covered so far require Boolean expressions to determine which code block to run. Java also provides a way to execute code blocks based on whether a block is equal to a specific value. For those specific cases, we can use the switch statement, which helps keep code organized and less wordy. Not worthy. The switch statement is used as follows. So you assign a variable, then you say which variable you're working with, and in the case that that variable is 1, or you can, if this variable was a string and that string was yes, then you can say case yes, case no, case I don't know why or something, and then default is like else. So in the example above, we assigned the integer variable restaurant rating a value of 3. The code will print a message to console based on the value of restaurant rating. In this case, the restaurant is fantastic is printed to the console. So this is printed out because our integer is 3. The break statement will exit the switch statement after a condition is met. Without the break statement, Java will continue to check whether the value of restaurant rating matches any other cases. So this is the bad side of using switch and case. You have to use a break. Whereas in an if, else if, and else chain, it breaks out automatically. The break statement will exit the switch statement after a condition is met. Okay, and then the default case is printed only if restaurant rating is not equal to an integer with the value 1, 2, or 3. So our instructions, we need to set the code block under the default case to this. So we can simply just copy this and get rid of, oops, I hate this working environment. I prefer the Python one, just saying. And then we just select this and paste this from here. And then we need to look at the code in the code editor, set the char variable penalty kick value to L, R, or C. But before this, we actually need to run it, otherwise it doesn't work for some reason because they've made it like that. Then we need to set this equal to L, capital L, R, or capital L, capital R, or capital C. Yes. And then when we run it, what should be printed out is message shoots to the left and scores. And that is exactly what's printed out. If we do R, we get message shoots to the right and misses the goal. So yeah, so let's move on to the last lesson, and let's see. So great work. Control flow allows Java programs to execute code blocks depending on Boolean expressions. So what we learned about conditionals and control flow are Boolean operators, the if, else, if and else statements, ternary control, and switch. So what we need to do now is all of these tasks. So let's get started. Use the precedence rules to help you evaluate the Boolean expression in the single line comment above the tricky variable. So not gets done before and gets done before or. But parentheses get done before everything else. So therefore true or true returns true, not true is going to be false. And then we have I'm not sure if that's done before this. Oh yes, it is. So we have here we have false, here we have true, true and false returns false. So we need to set tricky equal to false and semicolon. So let's see if we run it. Is it false? Yes, so we got that right. So let's see what our next task is. We need to change a Boolean expression in the if statement so that your program will print out the code in the else block instead. So 2015 is lesser than 2016, that's true. So we can just make it false because 2015 is not greater than 2016, and so therefore else should be printed, i.e. executed, so upgrade it to the future. There we go. And set the value of the integer variable subway train, wherever that is, here we go, equal to the case that will print this is a Brooklyn bound train to the console. So this is a Brooklyn bound train, that's 5, so we need to change the 9 to a 5. Now if we run it, we should get upgraded to the future, and this is a Brooklyn bound train, and we also get the badge. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked this video, then please click the like button. If you didn't like it, please click the dislike button, and please tell me in the comments down below why you didn't like the video. If you have any questions, please do ask in the comments down below. I will be looking at them, answering them as soon as I can. So until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.